Jeez, Dino De Laurentiis, slow down. You not only financed this movie to cash in on the success of Jaws, but you also financed Orca and the White Buffalo the following year.
Welcome to the horror show! You realize there is nowhere to run! Don't know who came to fight! Paranoia is getting alive!
King Kong, the 1976 remake of a 1933 Marvel. I find that most people don't like this movie because of the lack of other dinosaurs, but I'll give this film the benefit of the doubt, and with the knowledge of there being virtually no dinosaur life in this motion picture, let us see how it plays out. The plot! While on a trip to an unknown island to find a major supply of oil, Jack Prescott, a stowaway, comes out of his hiding spot to preach to the crew of the possible dangers on the island they are heading to. Fred Wilson, this movie's Carl Denham, is none too pleased and has Prescott escorted to the brig. But before he can be taken there, he spots a raft and they find a survivor. Dwan. This movie's Andero. Dwan is kind of like a combination of Faye Reyes' character's first and last name, who was to be a movie star before her ship exploded and his crew became lost, presumably dead. After all this, they finally make it to the island where they find a group of natives who are in the middle of sacrificing to their god, their lord, their king. And the rest is 70s history. And 1930s history, and 2005's history, and oh my gosh. This is a grand-scaled film. Everything is so big from the sets, effects, and music. It's about 35 minutes longer than the original, but it feels just about as fast-paced, even without the inclusion of dinosaurs. Jack is a great lead character. He's a bit underutilized, though, besides the fact that he spews some info of his knowledge. He doesn't really feel like a professor of archaeology. I think that's what he was. Still, he looks the part and is a decent actor, too. Dwan, I feel, is very ditzy. She looks confused sometimes, and when Khan is around her, she seems terrified. But about 3/4 of the way through, she's entranced by him. Fred, I think, is my favorite character. He is so hateable, but the way he overacts sometimes is genuinely funny. It is hard to explain. The rest of the characters, including Captain Ross and Bagley, what a name, are pretty good too. The whole movie just looks nice. Some of the green screen is a bit dated while others look flawless. There's one scene where Dwan runs away from Khan, who walks towards her in the background. That looked so good. A $24 million budget is what they were given, and does it work well? Yeah. It is definitely more of a love story that we can all get behind. Even if the budget was big, that doesn't mean they'd need to waste it on tons of unconvincing dinosaurs. That's probably would have broken the budget. The gore, the effects. There's a scene with a snake that has a pretty gruesome end, and the whole helicopters versus Khan scene is really bloody. The Khan suit is actually really good. It captures a lot of emotion, even if said emotion is creepy and weird at times. The miniatures are great and work well. This was made right after the end of the Showa Godzilla series, and the effects in this movie hold up better than any movie from that era. Although this was probably given 10 times the budget than any of those movies. The musical score, this is my favorite part of this movie. While I sat there and wrote this review, I was listening to John Barry's score for King Kong. Absolutely beautiful. Some of it's even ahead of its time. It feels like it's a theme from the 80s or 90s, to be honest. The lack of dinosaurs didn't hurt this film. In fact, it gave it more room to breathe. It is a big movie with big aspirations. It is bold and epic. King Kong, despite having a stock roar, is highly memorable and awesome. The ending is tragic for everyone, really. Dwan gets her fame, but was it even worth it? I recommend this movie, just don't expect too much in terms of action from it. There is a great adventure, though, so you will be entertained. Overall, I give King Kong a 3.5 out of 5. The 1976 version gets a 3.5 out of 5. Let me clarify there, for goodness sake. I am Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and to leave comments and subscribe.